High School to formally offer him the contract.
One of two men running for the Democratic nomination for Joni Ernst's U.S. Senate seat brought his campaign to Sioux City tonight. Wahls of Coralville spoke to supporters at Buffalo Alice tonight. He answered their questions about his campaign. Wahls told supporters if he wins the party's nomination in June and wins the November general election, he hopes to help build a better economy and clean up corruption in Washington, D.C. Wahls says he wants Iowans to have a strong candidate that works for the people, not just billionaires.
And frankly, they don't want me in Washington because they know that I don't work for them. I work for my people. In the state Senate, I've always fought to do what I think is right for Iowa's hardworking families. That is what this campaign is about. That is what this tour is about. And that is exactly what I'll do as Iowa's next United States Senator.
Wahls and Democrat Josh Turek will face off in June in the Democratic Party's primary.